Okay, next thing we are going to be looking at, and you'll notice that I've loaded a in-progress game for this, is the race window. So this race window up here is accessed through the Union Jack button, and it gives you a breakdown of your race, but it also gives you a couple of useful little features. So first up, you have your race. If you have multiple player empires, you can select them from the drop down here. So you have your race title here, and you have your short name here. Now, the short name appears in a few places, like, well, it appears over here when you create a population and you don't rename yet. Shows you how many people you have. It appears in a few places, but you have your race title and your short name here, and you can just type in a new one, and it will immediately update. So there's no save button on this window. You've got your system themes. So when systems on non-real stars are generated, they will pick the name out of this list. And you have your class and theme. And this is where your ship designer will pick names for classes that you create. Naming theme is, so this is your primary theme plus however many extras you have. We'll get to that in a second. You got your species list here. So for your empire, which is called your race, your species are all the species you have within your empire. Now, obviously, I haven't conquered anything yet, so all we have is human, and this is just your biological stats that you can tell. They can tell from your race window. Over here, you have your empire summary. So here you have your total empire population, how many populated and non-populated colonies, your total naval tonnage, your total commercial tonnage, your total shipping line tonnage, your total ground force sizes, so your tonnage of your troops, your naval shipyard capacity and your commercial shipyard capacity, how many buildings of each type you have across your entire empire, how much fuel you have in total, how much fuel you have in your ships, how much MSP you have on your colonies, and how much MSP you have on your ships. So you can see here, right, this is useful information because you can see here that if I were to run out of MSP on all my ships, I would not actually have enough to resupply it. Now, it's not entirely accurate because, like, if you have a look, not you. So it's a commercial ship, but it's got like 10,000 MSP. So this kind of throws the balance out. So I don't really have 33, well, I have 33,000 MSP on ships, but 10,000 of that is in my supply ship, right? So yeah, it gives you a rough idea, but you need to be aware of what kind of ships you have in order to make it useful. Moving along, you have your total stockpiles for your entire empire. You can see that our Macassium is really low, but everything else is nice and healthy. What kind of ordnance you have at your various population and what kind of ordnance you have loaded on your ships. So you can check here to see if you have like some ship stuck in the middle of nowhere that's accidentally left with a bunch of old missiles. And here you have something very useful, your tech list. So this is a list of all technologies that your empire knows, and the highest level for things like mining production or power mod, right? So this will give you a list of all the techs that you have. So if you need to compare the tech levels of two different empires, you can use this list. It does not list any empire-specific technologies. So, for example, I've got a couple of missiles researched. You'll notice that they're not on here because it's a empire-specific technology. They're not listed here. So this is only the technological stages that we've developed through here. Down here, you can change the image, change the station, change the hull, change the flag, and you can also delete the race. So you do not want to click this button if you want to keep playing the race because it will make it go away. This one, I believe, does actually have warnings, but yeah, that's how you delete a race. If you're starting a non-human start, you will need to use this button to delete the human empire that is created at spawn, but only do this after you have created your new empire. We'll cover that at another time. All right, so race themes. So here is where you can add, remove, and adjust the weighting of various naming themes. So you can see for this empire, I have an even mix of Warhammer 40k names, United States names, Spanish, Russian, Roman, German, Chinese, Battlestar Greek, and Aurora 4 member names. fun shits and giggles, really. You can adjust the weighting. Now, the weighting is a proportional weight of all the numbers. So if you have a look, the Warhammer 40k theme, if we edit the weight down to 50, it's not exactly half of this. It's adjusted. So the weight is based off the total weight. It's not a percentage, which is why all of these are at, well, 11%, but that's because there's only 9 of them. You can also add the theme, which you have selected here, and the weighting that it's going to be added against. You can edit the weight of an existing theme with this button here, and you can delete the theme from here if you no longer want it to be used for future officers. Now, keep in mind that officers that are already spawned will not be automatically renamed. So, for example, if I were to get rid of the Roman ones, all the Roman named officers will retain their Roman heritage. Last thing, Academy listing. This is probably the most useful one. So this tells you where your academies are. So you can see that New Novus, which is what the Earth colony has been renamed to in this game, has 5. And there is a total academy level of 5 because I haven't put any on any other colonies. Training level determines your officers and crewmen. So at training level 5, and you can adjust that down here between 1 and 5. At training level 5, we get, well, the officer graduates is based on the academies and is not affected by training level. But we get 25 officer graduates per year. So that means we get 25 new these guys every year. And down here we have our crewmen and junior officers. So we have 47,462 at this stage. These are used to actually crew our ships. So we'll talk about that once we get to actual ship design. But each ship requires a certain number of crew. This is your total current pool of crew for your ships. There are ways to avoid draining this pool for things like stations that have like 10,000 crew requirement or something crazy like that. But again, we'll cover that when we talk about ships. So yeah, this is where your total pool is. It is not your annual. It is not how many you generate per year. It's not how many you have generated. This is your current pool. So if I build a ship, it will subtract its crew requirement from this number, leaving the current crew. Scrapping ships will re-add their surviving crew to the pool and stuff like that. Now, with training qual level, this can shave. So if you have a look, at training level 1, we have 237,310 officers compared to training level 5. But the reason we want 5 is because of crew grade. So at training level 1, your ships start with 100 crew grade. At training level 5, they start with 500 crew grade. And that can be a pretty significant difference. Again, we'll talk about crew grade once we in other episodes. But the higher your training level, the higher the crew grade and the higher the base starting grade bonus is for your ships. So there are reasons why you would want to adjust the training level, and you can adjust it on the fly because unlike VB6 in C#, if you drop your crew grade, you get your crew back. Whereas in VB6, if we went from 5 to 1, we'd still be stuck with 47,000. And then when we went back to 5, it would split it by 5 again, and then you'd have like 9,000. So feel free to adjust this on the fly because the game is more than happy to give you the correct grade.